Good evening, everyone. My name is Tabo Mafodi. I'm speaking to you all the way from South Africa. Chances are some of you guys I know definitely without a doubt that we are on different time zones. We're very excited to be joined to you this evening. We've got amazing guests, and not only that we've got amazing guests, it is definitely Women's Month. So we've got women that definitely are coming from different parts of our continent, and they come across different industries that we're having. So obviously, being a Women's Month, this is a month that we definitely celebrating the different kinds of women that we have across the world. We're coming all the way for you from Thando Channel. Thando Channel, to some of you that might not know, is a video on demand platforms that speaks to African women, both on the continent and abroad. And the content that is definitely produced by Thando Channel is driven by the desire to showcase and unleash the power, grace, creativity, and strength of an African woman. So we definitely tonight, I know that the intention of today is definitely needing to inspire someone and needing to provoke a woman out there. It could even be as far as young girls of the African continent, because I always say someone's story would actually potentially be a healing to someone else. You might be asking to say this discussion led by women is actually facilitated by men. Before I am a man, I was raised by a woman. I come from a woman, and I was definitely raised by a single mother who has definitely been an amazing person in my life. So I know some definitely the challenges that women across the globe and across the world that they get to experience out there. I am a businessman. I run a private equity firm. And when I'm not doing business, I'm holding conversations like this if ever I'm not on television or radio, as I am a broadcaster myself. So, and I know that I'm not the only broadcaster on this panel today. So, with that said, I'll give an opportunity to Susie to actually, in fact, not Susie Maya, to actually say hi to all viewers at home. You just give us a brief introduction of who you are and which part of the continent are we speaking to you from. Then I guess we'll take it from there.
All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, everyone that's joining us wherever you are watching from, whether you're in the house or you're in your bedroom, you're in the office, wherever it is that you are watching us from. Thank you for tuning in. My name is Maya Hayakawa, and I am joining you right now from Kenya. I'm in Nairobi. I am a broadcaster, as Tiboho here mentioned. I work for the BBC. And basically what it is that I do is that I'm a business journalist. So I cover business news in Africa. And at the BBC, we are very passionate about covering women. So we're very intentional about making sure that we tell stories of women entrepreneurs, and not just in the business field, but in every genre program that we have. And we try to, as much as we can, not only cover issues that are that contain women issues, but also just making sure that we have contributors that are women, and that women are also telling stories, and that we incorporate and include as many female journalists as possible. So outside of what I do for a living, I'm also a mother of three. And I am a content creator as well. So I have a segment that I like to call Wabi Sabi, which just basically covers anything that's got to do with personal development. Yeah, so I'm really looking forward to this discussion today. I think it's a very timely topic. I think that there is a lot to be said. And I think it's also exciting that we have a male moderator driving this conversation, because men too need to be part of this movement of women in leadership as well. So I'm looking forward to connecting with all of our other panelists as well.
No, definitely. Thank you for that. That was quite brief and exciting. And let's take it to Ghana. Faith, do you want to say hi to our viewers at home?
Yes. So hi, my name is Faith Senam. I'm a fashion PR specialist. What I do is I handle PR for fashion, beauty, and lifestyle brands. And the whole idea is to get young businesses, women-led businesses, emerging brands, and both established ones to understand and appreciate the importance of PR in their organizations or in building their brands. And then on the other side, I'm also the founder of Women in Public Relations, an organization I started out of my own desire or passion to see more women at leadership positions, to see women being mentored, to see women having opportunities and creating opportunities for women to reach leadership positions. And it started since 2017 and we've never stopped. We've always been pushing, spotlighting women doing amazing things in the background, especially also because our kind of profession as PR professionals puts us at the back. And so people don't get to see what we are doing when we are behind pushing brands, pushing the business leaders and everything, but people don't get to see what we do. So starting Women in PR was to bring a lot of spotlights on women doing amazing stuff in their organizations. And that has been amazing. And I'm looking forward to today's discussion. Like I said, because of Women in PR, I'm also very passionate about seeing women in leadership positions. So it's really a good place to be today. And I'm looking forward to an interesting discussion.
Definitely. We hope you're not intending to stop anytime soon, right?
No, not at all.
No, definitely. And we're bringing it home. Miss Adams, do you want to say hi to our listeners and our viewers at home and tell us who you are?
Yes, thank you so much. And good evening, everyone who's tuning in right now. My name is Razia Adam from South Africa. By profession, I'm a geologist, practiced in the mining industry, went underground for close to 11 years. Formed Women in Mining forums for 2 mining houses in South Africa, which the forums actually dealt with women issues in terms of ablution systems underground, PPE, which is your one-piece overalls, as well as development in the mines. I then ventured into opening my own entities, which one of it is Kukanya Women's Investment Group, where I gathered a few women who were very close to me, a team of 10 ladies, where we do monthly contributions in South Africa. We call it a stokvel. We were stockpiling to actually invest into private properties as well as into the agriculture system. The Bukanya Women's Investment Group has been amazing because I saw an opportunity for women to go into the sector. And one of the big dreams that we have is to become property investors in South Africa. I am also a founder and CEO of Luandle RNS Mining in South Africa. And that is a contract mining company that was founded in 2015. And it's also a consulting company. Who knows best in mining other than a geologist that has practiced for 10 years in underground and open cast mines. So I'm basically going back and I am giving solutions to the mines on things that actually gave me a lot of pain and hassles when I was still practicing as a miner in the underground and open cast mines. Then I also run, I'm a woman of many things, because I also run business mentorship and career advancement company, which I actually started after I was part of the Obama program, which I brought together over 300 SADC entrepreneurs. And we literally give them mentorship and coaching in building their businesses and taking it forward. So yeah, that's Rosie Adam. Looking forward to this topic and this discussion, very passionate. Very, very passionate about women leadership and women empowerment and development. So I'm looking forward to have a fruitful discussion with the wonderful ladies in the panel tonight.
So hopefully next time when you do your event, you'll bring Maya, you'll bring Faith, you'll bring some of us there.
Absolutely. And it's coming very soon now that COVID is almost over, I hope. I'm joking. Not over, but yeah.
Okay, no, since that is out of the way, we don't want to leave you out at home. You definitely allowed to be part of our conversation and part of our discussion tonight. You can definitely check out our social media channels at Thando channel. On Facebook, it's at Thando channel. On Twitter, and we're gonna be definitely try by all means to be keeping you posted on all our platforms across Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Definitely do ask and throw in your questions as we go along. We're gonna actually open up time for you guys to actually deal with some of the questions that you're gonna be posting or sharing with us. You're also allowed to even give us your comment. You might not be a question as per se. Maybe you want to compliment the ladies or even give your own input. Definitely use those social media platforms. They'll definitely be open up for you. So now, coming to you, ladies, I've picked up quite an interesting things as you were introducing yourselves. None of you, I repeat, none of you is doing one thing or two things. So, and you're still expected to be in the kitchen. What are you guys doing being busy? Aren't you guys supposed to be looking after us men out there? I mean, now the question that I want to throw in there to say, I mean, we are raised in an African context, and in our culture, our mothers were always in the kitchen. What are you guys doing in the boardrooms, wanting to chase dreams, start ventures, and run businesses? Don't you think you guys belong in the kitchen? Then, as obviously that's what we raised women doing, being in the kitchen themselves. So I love how Faith is just looking at me. So I'll allow you, Faith, to be the one that starts. At Faith, you can unmute.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty strange. Yes, we are supposed to be in the kitchen like we saw our parents do, but I think that
Mhm.
things are changing.
Okay.
Women are needed in organizations. Women are needed in different industries. Women it's been proven that women are making much impact as
Mm.
compared to just being pushed to the kitchen.
Gi-
Because being in the kitchen, anybody could.
Give me an example. What are some of the impact these women are making?
I mean, we've seen it in politics. We've seen
Mm-hmm.
it in organizations where women who are at the helm of affairs are managing better as compared to being pushed into the kitchen. Because in the kitchen, the men are there, so we can all do it. But I think that we bring an added advantage that if it's just left to the men, it's not going to be the same. Women bring something different to the table, and I think that's
Mm-hmm.
what we all need to appreciate and help women to move not completely out of the kitchen, but to come into the boardroom, into those industries that are male dominated, for them to also make an impact. Because women leading also means that it's more inclusive. And God, in his own finite wisdom, did not just create man. He created man and created a woman. So a woman is needed in any aspect of our lives. So we just can't rule out women and say, okay, no, this is the place you're supposed to be. No. I think that it's been very evident, and in the way we lead, in our leadership styles, we are needed in any industry. Any industry.
So, Razia, you seem to be agreeing with everything she says. You keep on nodding. So you don't want to be in the kitchen as well. You reckon you need it out there.
Absolutely. You know, if I can share one story from an industry that I'm most familiar in, which is mining, which is predominantly known as a male-dominated industry, where we really had to move rocks and move shovels to actually be accepted and be actually recognized. Um, we actually used to run sections that will produce million tons of whatever products that we are actually mining underground more than men. I remember very well when I was working at Sasol Mining, we were majority of the section was full of women, and women were working together and pulling towards the same direction. And we won an award for the year because we mined over 1 million tons of the whole mine. Everyone was asking us, how do you do it, ladies? How do you do it? You know why? Because we care more. I'm not saying men don't care more, but we really genuinely care more for each other, and we all want to see each other win. And if I fail, then I basically represent represents all the other women in the mine, for example. And we're seeing the same in other sectors as well. Most of the sectors, agriculture, look at how many women farmers are there now, and they are doing an exceptional job, and they are really getting good deals from the retail stores, because we know that people need to be fed. We know that we need to work harder. And I think it's because we've got that thing in our heads that, oh, I'm a lady, and most of the time it is expected for me to work double as much as the man. So naturally, we make things happen. And when we focus on something, it really becomes a success. Without saying that men also do that, but half the time, please check teams that are led by women. They mostly succeed in their targets.
Okay. No, I hear you. Maya, it only took up until 1936 when Elizabeth Cowell became the first female announcer. Because obviously in the broadcasting space, it has only and always been men. And Elizabeth Cowell got to be the first woman that BBC and internationally became the first announcer ever been. So right now, Razia has raised an important point to say you guys are more caring. So, and in that caring, we've seen, obviously being a broadcaster, to say not only within a broadcasting space or, point of view, but within business and politics. Women don't like each other much. Women, they tend to shut their doors for each other as well. No, Faith, it happens. It happens. We cannot deny it. So right now, obviously, not only that it has been men that has become discriminating, withholding the power that they would give to women. So right now, obviously, up until 1936, when that transformation took, to actually have the first female announcer or broadcaster to actually become in this space. So, would you say as much? I mean, we've had Faith, we've had Raziad. How much needed are you? Um, would you say to this day and age, now we're in the 21st century, would you say that transformation has it worked? And if ever it has worked, how is it that women are still discriminated to this day and age when it comes to
Oh
certain
my
and
God.
suitable positions?
There are so many things that I would have to say, but let me try and summarize the 2 points that I really want to bring out. First of all,
Okay.
you're right. Yes, we have made a lot of strides, and now we're seeing a lot of more women in the broadcast space. But I think that there is still a bit of discrimination when it comes to women in front of the camera, right? Because women tend to be over sexualized. You start
Okay.
looking at how a woman dresses, her skin color, her skin tone, and all of these things. And even as a woman being a broadcaster, it's not necessarily about how knowledgeable you are and about how you're able to articulate things and how you're able to communicate things, but women are watered down to their sexuality and what they look like. And people will assume that, hey, let's put that female broadcaster on, not necessarily because she's qualified and she has a lot to bring to the table and she's knowledgeable, she's able to ask the difficult questions, the tough questions, but because they assume that more people will watch news
Yes.
because she's a woman,
There's a
right? And because she's
beautiful, correct,
inviting
yeah.
and the physical appearance, and you're more inclined to watch her because of that. But I think that that is changing over time. And even as we saw women go into broadcasting, it was expected that women would do the softer stories, right? That women will be reporting on things like health. Women will be reporting on things like lifestyle and entertainment, right? But when it comes to things like politics and comes to things like business, then it becomes like, no, that is a man's world, and men should be able to handle these discussions. So I definitely saw that, and I think that I never saw myself as the business broadcaster because I thought that that is a male dominated space. But I think that it's important to highlight that it's not just male dominated space where we're seeing a lack of leadership with women being in leadership, but it is also in female dominated spaces, right? When we're looking at the pandemic right now, COVID-19, primarily a health crisis, but we're also seeing this evolve into being an economic crisis, right? But healthcare workers, 70% of the global healthcare space is dominated by female workers, right? The nurses, etc., all these women in that field and space. But when it comes to the decision-making table, the ones who are
Yes.
actually doing the policies, the ones who are driving health expenditures and investments in our infrastructures, despite the fact that we are the caregivers, despite the fact that we are the doctors, we are the nurses, it's still men who are making those decisions. And that's a huge issue, right? On one end, should I be out there? I think that it should be, first of all, the choice of the woman, because we don't want to undermine the role that women have to play at home. And if a woman wants to be at home and she wants to be the primary caregiver, then she should be allowed that space. But the only way that she'll also be allowed that space to be able to work out there is that if men also step up and allow women to go out there, to go for the positions, to lead, to be the CEO. It might mean that men may have to pick up the slack at home. And the more that we can normalize this and just have a shift in gender roles, then the more we will see women out there applying for those jobs. We know that women don't apply for jobs as much as men do, not only because of the roles that they have to play at home
Mhm.
and all of these expectations to be caregivers, but also because women tend to be underconfident. They seem to undervalue themselves. Men, when they look at a job criteria and they see two qualifications, they're like, yeah, I'm going to go apply for that job. But a woman will look at all of those, qualifications, and if it's not a 100% match, then they won't apply for the job. So I think that we need to see more women out there. And I don't think that it should be a question on should women be out there. I think that it should be that women can be out there, that they do have the choice to be out there, that they have the opportunities to be out there, that they are elected as leaders, that they are hired, that they're given promotions, that they are allowed to lead. I think that that's important. The opportunity has to be there. It shouldn't be a question of whether women should be out there, but it should be that they have the opportunity and the freedom and the choice to be out there.
Hmm. Faith, you seem to be agreeing with a lot of things Maya is saying. Maybe let me ask you this because she's raised a very valid point, an important point on women leadership to say women are not given an opportunity to lead. You know, do you think women are good leaders? And what is your generic opinion on women leadership?
I think women are good leaders. I perfectly agree with Maya in a lot of things. The issue about imposter syndrome, the fact that we downplay our competence, um, and also because we listen too much to ourselves and we want to check all the boxes before we make any decision. But I think that over the years, conversations are changing.
All
We are
right.
seeing a lot of women in top positions, and I mean, finding out that about quite a number of leaders during this pandemic period have done much better compared to their male counterparts. I think they are encouraging stories for us to follow, to push women to understand that, hey, you are not lesser than you think. You are not lesser. You are capable. You have all the competences, just like a man. We are seeing Razor in mining, like many years back, it's more male dominated. By examples of hair like this would push a lot of young women out there to feel that, hey, as long as there's a woman in this industry and she's able to do it, I can do it. And these are examples of women we have seen over time. And unlike before, where we try to shelve them, we try to create this glass ceiling where we feel that, okay, after going to school, after getting a degree, it's enough. Let me just have babies. Let me just marry and just sit down there, and then that's it. I think that is the perception we've created and we've imposed on each other. But to see women rising up to president's position, to see women leading countries, to see women in very, very male-dominated industries are like they are examples for us to follow. And our managerial skills, our leadership skills are like it's evidence in whatever we do. Women we bring on the table, we are more collaborative. When there's a woman in an organization, you see that she's not just there. You know how men, I feel like men a lot of times take decisions on their own, and they don't care about who is being affected, who is losing. And it's just about, a lot of times it's about men saying, I think this is good for everybody. But I think when it comes to women, they are more inclusive. Women who want to seek opinions of other women before they come on board. And I think when it comes to the issue about empathy, women want to, and they feel for others. And that's why I can see that there are these women presidents in this during COVID are doing so much well, because women can't watch to see other people suffer. They can't watch to see people dying. And that's why they're able to take quick measures to be able to, they took very, very quick measures to reduce their numbers, reduce the death toll. And I think that these are all evidence of things that we bring on the board. So it shouldn't be, women shouldn't be pushed out of the boardroom because the decisions are too tough. It's been very, very evident in what we bring to the table, and we are very collaborative, very we show a lot of empathy. And I think another key thing is that women have very strong communication skills. Women will make sure that they are communicating, not just one-way communication, but they are looking at a two-way communication where they are taking feedback from everything. And those are things that it's very important. We can't downplay them. And I think that once that is done, we will see more women. Like, we have about 19 presidents out of close to 195 countries. And look at the population of the world. Why should we be having that kind of imbalances? No, I think that there's a space for women to excel. And as much as we can, we are all there. I, as a founder of Women in PR, I am always out there pulling women who are feeling that I can't do this, or I don't need a spotlight. I think people would think that I am too much out there. I actually do experience it. Sometimes when we want to feature some of these women, oh, Faith, no, I don't want too much attention on me. And we are there to encourage you. Hey, you need to do that. If you want to get to the position, if you want to get to leadership, if you want to get to managerial position where your voice will be heard, you need to get out of that space and go out there and make an impact. And so I think it's very evident in what we are bringing to the table. And it's exceptional. It is exceptional.
Yeah. Razia, Faith is raising some very important points around opening up the market, for women to thrive, and in already open markets, women are thriving. You would relate, you in South Africa, so we've got an issue of transformation that has been on discussion, I think, across the African continent, for a couple of years now. So right now, when you're looking at, our JSE being our stock exchange, there's only 1% of women-owned companies that are listed within the stock market, and right now the number even in that 1% goes smaller and smaller as we go up the African continent. There's countries where there's not even one company that is women-owned that is listed. So right now, do you think or do you believe that our global system promotes female leadership?
I don't think so. I don't think we are there yet. I think there's a lot of window dressing going on. I will talk about South Africa right now in terms of my personal experience as an entrepreneur in this male-dominated environment. As much as you get these private companies that they have to do ESD and grow women and provide this training and that training. You know what? I've always found that women are forever required to be trained. It's never enough. Even in business, when you have experience over 11 years in the sector. You understand the sector better as well. You've done what a man has done as well in that sector. And you come equally with your services with your male counterparts, but you are required to go to enterprise development programs. while the male company is trusted to take on a 10 million rand project, that male company will subcontract you as a women company and say, come be under me and you deliver because I don't have the skills and you do. So I think there's a lot of window dressing going on. And another issue that I've realized, I agree with Faith and Maya with regards to women leadership and women taking up spaces. But I also believe that as women, we can become our worst enemies as well. I've seen it happen a lot with my experience and some of my friends as well and my network who are women.
Without disturbing you, Faith says women want to see other women grow. So I'm glad that you're raising this point because it's a fact, it's thing that is happening within the boardroom. I mean, I've seen within across industries other women saying other women are closing doors for me, and where else men are opening those doors. But continue, and I want
But I
you to
have a
touch base as
question.
well.
Don't and the same thing to each other? Why is it that when women do it to each other, then it becomes that women are against each other and don't support each other? But then when it comes to
Exactly
men,
what
then
I'm going
that's
to
not the
say.
discussion. Because it's the
But
nature, it's
So,
the nature
So
and the more
of
we
climbing
keep
up the
saying it, the
corporate
more
ladder.
it gets into our
If you
minds,
are
women are not supporting each other.
so
No,
yeah,
exactly, because
maybe
ladies,
so
if men are not supporting
about
each
it.
other, if men are not supporting each other, it never becomes the discussion of, oh, that man is not supporting that man. It becomes the discussion of competitiveness, effectiveness. It becomes the conversation of the efforts that they're putting, the achievements that they're making. But when it's other women, the discussion becomes, oh, she's bringing that other woman down. Why
but
is it that
but
this
Maya, it's
discussion
you
only
women
comes when
that are
it's women?
amplifying it. Though. It's you women that are amplifying it. Because if a woman were not amplifying it as much as you guys do, I'm sure we wouldn't be as aware of it happening as much as it is. Obviously, when you
and
look at from a statistical point of view, we've got more women than we have men. So
and we're
maybe
outnumbered. I'm going to tell you one thing, ladies and gents, tonight. What happens is when I'm the only woman in the boardroom, when I voice my concerns of being the only woman in the boardroom and I want to bring more women in, I'm outvoted. The gentlemen or the boys club basically outvote me because I'm the only person, I'm the only woman. But when you are at least 3 or 4 women and you're advocating for other women, you at least have a better voice in the boardroom. So that's
correct.
how men actually fight us against each other as women. They literally bring 1 woman or 2 women and they say, enough. And then they watch us actually lose our power, and that's what they want. And they're like, no, we want more women, but these women are the ones that don't want other women in. So we need to basically constantly remind ourselves as women that we are the odd number against this big number. So we need to bring each other more into the boardroom to win this battle. Because I promise you, it's a battle. It's a battle that we will never fight if Razia alone is in the boardroom or in Exco amongst 15 other men.
But
But
how do you differentiate?
rather
How
we've
do you
got more women than
differentiate?
we have
I
men.
just want to see one point. How do you differentiate the fact that it's not that women are putting other women down, but it's just the way the system is set up? Because exactly as you said, if I am in that boardroom and I am the only female in that boardroom, and like you said, men are outnumbering me, even if I want to bring in other women into the boardroom, the system already makes it difficult for me to pave the way for other women. And I think
Is
that
the
a lot
system
of
failing?
women are paving
Is the
ways.
system failing women, Maya?
Exactly. That's exactly what I'm saying. I'm saying rather than it being about women pinning against each other, I think the issue is the system itself, is that women are not given the opportunities, not because of other women, but it's because of the systems and how it is set up. And that's why you'll find that in countries where there is more gender equality, that's why you'll find in countries where there are more female CEOs or there are more female led businesses, then those countries are more likely to actually elect a female leader because they see that around them, because it's normalized for them. And that's why
Mhm.
they have those opportunities. And the system is set up to give women these opportunities. So I think the discussion should not be on gender or individuals, it should be on equality and allowing women to have these equal opportunities?
Yeah. I like what you said, Maya. Let me make an example. In our country, the political party that is leading, there was a time that it was giving an opportunity for us to have, for the very first time, a woman president. Let me tell you, the women-led section of the political party, they refused and said our country is not ready to be led by us, being women. So we cannot elect a woman president. We do not have, and they opted for a man. Razia is my witness. She knows that, and I know that it's something that as well, became a big widespread. That's why even when it comes to the UN, for us to have the first female leadership within the UN, it was a mission, it was a big debate, and it was a big hoo-ha. And look at, after Nkosazana Zuma was removed from that position, what ended up happening? There was a Zimbabwean leader, that was removed from a position, because of being a woman and because of the things that she was voicing out that were uncomfortable to the system. Do you understand? So right now, Faith, how do you think we could better improve the system? Because at the end of the day, it's all well and good for us to identify all these problems, and the system is failing us and doing this and that. But right now, we need to be part of the change. What do you think we can do differently or improve the system to accommodate women?
I think for us, first of all, it starts with our mindsets as women. It starts with us changing the conversation about, hey, women are their own enemies. Three of us here with you four, from today, anybody logged in today, if we all can change our mindsets about women being their own enemies, a woman being in a space in a boardroom and she's the only person there, and she feels that another woman needs, for the purpose of gender equality, another woman needs to be there. She has every right to do that, and no person, no man or no woman should feel that this woman is not qualified, or this woman is just no, it's not possible for her to have another woman in the boardroom. I also think that irrespective of cultural differences, we as women as well, we need to push ourselves out there, develop yourself, and then find industries, find a niche area. Like Maya has done in the newsroom, in journalism, a lot of times women are pushed to take the soft news or whatever. But going forward, she's in business, she's doing hard news. People are going to industries that are male dominated. I think these are the kind of conversations we need to have. These are the kind of actions we need to take where we are empowering women. And that's one of the goals of Women in PR, is to push women to go there. And that's some of the those are the fundamentals we need to have to be able to push women to get there. There's so many advantages that women bring on board, and I think that we need to, going forward, help each other. Men fight each other, men do it too. So it's okay when women don't feel comfortable with each other, let them voice it, but don't pin them against each other. And I think these are some of the things that we need to change. And also, we need to change the mindset of making women act like men to become like successful leaders. Women, we have our own traits, we have our own characteristics, we have our own leadership styles. And so when a woman is in a space, is in a boardroom, allow her to be able to operate. And I think that these are some of the little things that we can do to push more women to the top, to push for gender equality, to get more women to take spaces where are male dominated. And I think these are the ways we can look at going forward.
Hmm. No. I
Um,
agree with you. And Razia?
I'm interested in understanding which system is this? What's the system we're referring to that is actually the constraint in making us move forward and grow in women as women? What is the system? Whose system is it?
Hmm. I'm I'm
I'm
sure
not
Maya's
sure.
I
gonna
think
tell
it's a
us.
combination. It's a combination of many things, right? I think that some of it is external and some of it is internal. Number one, the system, systems don't necessarily have to be institutions and things like that, but it can just be cultural mindset. It can just be perceptions, and it can just be stereotypes. So it's not necessarily the fact that women are pinning down each other, but it's the stereotypes that we have towards women that is denying women these opportunities and chances for them to be able to lead. So what are some of those stereotypes that we have? The stereotypes is one that we spoke about for like 15 minutes, which is, it's so sad that we have to have this conversation. The conversation we should have is, should your place be in the home? Should you be the caregiver? Should you be able to cook and clean and all that? I'm done with that conversation. The conversation we should be having is what makes a good leader. It should not necessarily be the fact that you are a woman or that you are a man, but it should be able to be centered around your effectiveness, the results that you are putting out there, the fact that the conversation should be leaders in general, and which leaders are leading the fight against the pandemic in an effective and efficient way. But because we have such strong stereotypes, and the stereotype is that women don't make good leaders. It's that women are meant to be in the house and in the home. It's that women are too soft. It's that women are too emotional. It's that women are not as intelligent as men. That is one issue. Another issue is when we talk about systems. Just the other day, women were allowed to vote. We weren't even allowed to vote until like, a generation or two generations ago. That in itself is already a systematic issue. The fact that women are in the informal sector, the fact that we aren't even hired in the first place because of these stereotypes, those are all systematic issues and don't necessarily have to do with the fact that, it's because women are pinning down on each other. It's that the way our governments are set up, the way our institutions are set up, make it difficult for women to make it into those decision-making tables in the first place. That is what the biggest issue and the biggest problem is, in my opinion.
And I think, to add to that, I also think that the society where we find ourselves, the patriarchal mindset we find ourselves, when women get into leadership positions, people question how she got there. They feel, oh, she got there because
I want to come to that point.
Because she probably, in quotes, slept with someone before she got there. Not because she's intelligent, not because she's smart, not because she can handle the difficult issues, but because even she herself feels that, I don't think I can do it. That's why we all need those voices where when you're faced with any kind of, and thankfully today there are different organizations that are out there to support women, to push women into leadership positions. The second thing is, when we are talking about even system, is our workplaces. Women at some point, because by nature because of our biological nature, we need to, at some point, go and have babies. How many organizations allow women to bring in their kids? To be able to allow them to function? Because I remember very well, there was a time years back when I was working. I had two colleagues who, at some point, they were really struggling because they were looking for places to leave their children, to be able to come to work. And when they are at work and their kids are sick, they're messed up. They are not able to deliver. How many organizations? So we are talking about systems. We are looking at all the structures that allow women, that creates room for motherhood. What about those care spaces where you can bring your kids and you know that they are safe? And then thankfully, COVID actually forced us now to have remote working working conditions, because years back they were not happening. Women were forced to leave their kids 3 months. Into 3 months, 6 months, you need to leave your children to go back to work. The same workspace when you are gone. You start the same job with a guy, but he is being promoted, but you have to pause because you need to go and make babies and come back. What's going to happen to you when you come back? You are either going to be at the same place and the guy is up there because you're now going to start all over again. But thankfully now with COVID, I mean, it came with its own bad terms, but I think that it also came to bring us something good, because now you could actually sit at home, work, babysit, sit behind your laptop and still deliver. And I think those are the systems that we are talking about. And those are the systems that we need to challenge and push for women to get to leadership position.
I just want to add one more point there, just one more point on the systems part, because some of it is actually legislative, okay? Just the other day, last year, like 2 years ago, even I think it was last year actually, Saudi Arabia made it possible for women to drive. Can you imagine?
For the
Like,
first,
women were
yeah,
not allowed to drive. That is a system issue. Just the other day, in some countries, even till this day, when we look at Nigeria, in certain cultures, women are not allowed to go to school. Girls are not. Even at that level, at such young ages, girls are not able to access education, puts them at a disadvantaged level economically. It means that they won't have the same opportunities for them to be able to thrive, even if they have those leadership qualities in them. It's that they're not even given the opportunity to have those qualities nurtured because of those systems. So yeah, that's just the point I wanted to add.
yeah,
Um,
and there's a point that Faith has raised. I think I wanna bring it back and touch on. I'll give you an opportunity first to speak, Razia. But first, I wanna encourage all the viewers that are watching to please go to our social media platforms. It is Thando Channel on Facebook, Thando Channel on Twitter and Instagram. And I wanna thank Liz Gwamboka, who's commenting on our Facebook comment and saying, good question. They're enjoying the conversation that we're having. Tuto Keke as well, he says, thank you, Tando Channel and the panel for this insightful session. And we've got the likes of Zolandao. We've got a lot of people that are really watching and that have tuned in and joined our live. So you definitely do put up your comment for us. We are going to read it. If you've got a question, definitely do ask the question on our social media platform. We'll definitely attend to it. So right now, Razia, you had a point that you wanted to make. Before I touch on something very sensitive that Faith has made mention of, that I think we cannot, I don't want us to shy away from it. The system shies away from it. Media is shying away from it. Politicians, and society as a whole is shying away from it. I want to touch base on it, but I'll allow you to make a quick point that you wanted to make before I get to it.
Yes, so I wanted to actually share with regards to COVID-19 and what has been happening, or what I've been involved in and seeing happening in Africa. A lot of women companies and women organizations were actually going over and above from what the government has been offering for those who couldn't actually afford anything because they were at home and it's been locked down. We've been donating a lot and leading the way. But unfortunately, I'm not very confident in seeing a lot of male companies where they're given more opportunities in business, giving and making sure families are fed. So when it comes to the topic of women being great leaders, I would like to believe we are super great leaders, because not only do we think about our families, it naturally comes to us that when I see someone inboxing me on LinkedIn, or I see a post on Facebook saying, I'm hungry, we haven't received the parcel from government that we have been promised, or the 350 or whatever amounts that the government has promised us, we all jump in and we take from what we don't have in our businesses and in our household, and we sort of like make sure every family is fed. What is happening with our male counterparts when it comes to these things? I rarely saw anyone in my network, and I have majority men in my network who run successful companies. Actually, some of them even denied me donations when I was asking for monthly donations to feed a few families. So it's something that is, not even debatable. And when you keep hearing our president saying more women needs to be given business opportunities and you don't see it happening, it saddens me, because we are actually taking care of more families in our countries, and we're going over and above on top of the tax that we are paying for as well in our countries, to make sure that this pandemic does not walk out with a lot of casualties.
Yeah, no, it's a good factor that you're raising. No, thank you for that, Razia. So now, you Faith, you touch based on a point that we mainly avoid as society. You said that when you are a woman and you're in leadership, people automatically think that you've slept your way up. You know, so right now, yes, it's a stigma that is there and that is happening. So it's particularly important that I bring it up so that we discuss it quickly this issue. So, but however, we cannot deny as well the fact that there are a small minority of women that fall victim to that. You know, in fact, it's not a small minority, but a majority of women that fall victim to that. To say, when you go look for a job or when you go look for a tender or for a project, somebody wants sexual favors, you know, for them to, in order to give you or in order for you to earn it. And if ever you refuse to live up to that, you find that the door gets shut, or you know, you lose that job or anything of that is happening. So obviously, particularly for me as a man, it saddens me because I can imagine when it comes, maybe let's say that point of me being married, then my wife that time needs to go get a job and is being told to say, Mama, you know, hey, do me a favor, I'll give you a job, or do me a favor, I'll give you a project or whatsoever. Can I generally maybe ask you? This is a question that I want all three of you to answer. To say, you might know a woman too that have experienced such, or you might have even experienced such yourself. So how should generally women respond to that? Because right now I've realized that certain women they fall prey because we'll be thinking to say, I've got kids to feed, or I've got all these kids that I have. This man has left me with his kids, is nowhere to be found, and right now, I did what I had to do, or things like that. So I want the reason I want you to all give me your own opinion on this matter, because there's a woman that are watching. You know, there's somebody that maybe have not experienced it and is still going to experience it, or there's somebody that has experiences and fell prey on it. So it's a very sensitive issue that I really want us to generally, in your answering your opinion around it, I think as well in the midst of it, advise what should a woman do whenever they encounter that monster out there that wants them to fall prey. So maybe Maya, you can start.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Let me play also the devil's advocate and say that also on the flip side of it, women who are in leadership roles as well do the same thing to men who are coming up. Again, I keep saying this is not a gender issue. It is a
Mhm.
personal issue, and you need to be able to know where your boundaries lie, regardless of
Mm.
whether you are male or female, because male too gets sexually harassed. Males
They do.
too have to go through crazy lengths and do things that may be unethical. At the end of the day, it really does boil down to what your ethics are. It really boils down to what your beliefs are and all that, because there are certain people who want to go that way and who don't mind going that way. There are women who are willing to go that way, and there are other women who are not. So it's for you as an individual, as a woman, for you to understand where your boundaries are, and to make sure that you are enforcing those boundaries right from the get-go. I remember that when I was coming up in the broadcast industry, I really was very cautious about that, because women, especially in the limelight, especially in public spaces, and in anything that has to do with television, there is that stereotype and there's that belief, and women have a bad name for that, right? So I was really conscious about that, and I was like, okay, how do I go around this? And I was like, I really hope that I have a female boss. I really hope that it's a female who discovers me. And luckily I did have a woman who discovered me. But also at the same time, that's not really realistic, simply because of the proportions of men that are out there. So be prepared to have to deal with men out there. But then as a woman, if I were you, make sure that you are surrounding yourself with, as much as possible, female mentors who can help you, who can guide you, who can support you. I would say that make sure that on all grounds you lay down your boundaries right from the start. For example, if somebody asks you,
go for coffee, for example, for a job interview. That's the part where you say, no, I don't think that's appropriate. And because you are firm right from the beginning, then men will know that, listen, this is not somebody to mess around with, that you are very professional, that you are very ethical, that there's certain things that you're not willing to tolerate, and make sure that you show these men how you want to be treated, that you want to be respected. And I think that it's also important that women realize their value and realize that they have something to bring to the table. Because the moment that you understand that you have something to bring to the table, then you'll realize that you're willing to pass up an offer because of those values that you have. You know what you can offer a company, you know what you can offer an organization, and you want to be able to get that role because of what you have to offer, not because of the fact that you are female, or not because of the fact that you offered people, other favors. I think another thing that's really important is that you need to speak up. You need to report these men. You need to shame men for what they're doing. And men are very good at doing that, by the way. Men are really good at putting down other people and saying, when other people do things wrong. But I think that accountability is very important. It's important for you to report these cases, so that we can make sure that men are held accountable, and that they also respect your lines and your boundaries. That is what I personally have done. And sometimes these conversations are really uncomfortable, because even the other day, a boss of mine, it doesn't have to be sexual, but then men tend to just cross the boundaries women have, because women don't set those boundaries. And a simple one is women working late nights, women taking phone calls in the middle of the night. And I realized that men don't do that to other men. They only do it to other women, but other women allow that to happen. So I had to have that uncomfortable conversation with my boss and say, listen, I don't think that it's appropriate for you to call me past 5 p.m. and I don't appreciate that. And I'm not going to pick up phone calls past 5 p.m. I'm not going to respond to emails during weekends. And as much as that was really uncomfortable, but that way I was able to set my boundaries, and to this day, he doesn't call me at 5:01 even, and he'll send me a text message and say, this is really urgent, I need you to do this or do that. So the respect and the boundaries have to be there, and men will respect you if you show them that you want to be respected. Know your boundaries, know your ethics, know your value.
Right. So while Faith is unmuting herself, Boni Luanda Duma says, "Salute Razia, Adam. Very powerful points you're making." And we've got somebody from South Arabia as well that says that's a powerful, girl. That's our powerful girl, Razia Adams. And somebody else is saying, very powerful ladies. You guys are doing a great job. So let's hear your point, Faith.
I think Maya has said a lot. She said almost everything I want to say. For me, I believe that we need to put value on ourselves. We need to. I think yesterday I was at the launch of a report for Alliance for Women in Media. And I think some of the recommendations were that women also need to develop themselves. You need to put value yourself to be able to set your boundaries. If you're applying for a job and you know very well that this job you're not qualified, then of course, but you want that job, then of course, even man is making advances at you, you're going to give in because you know that that job you're applying for, you're not qualified for it. But if you are qualified for a job that you're going in for, you know the value you are bringing onto the table. You know the impact you are going to make for that organization. Sorry?
That's a powerful statement you're making.
Exactly. So if you know what you're bringing onto the table, then of course, if someone is making advances at you, when someone is saying, okay, I'm going to give you this job because I want that, you can definitely tell the person, hey, no, because this is what I'm bringing. If you hire me for what I'm bringing onto the table, then I'm going to make this difference for your organization or for whichever institution that I find myself. And so I think that women need to also realize that we need to put that value. And that's why we are here today. It's for any young person, any younger person out there who is thinking that women get a particular position because they gave in, because a man held their hand. Yes, we've all gotten to positions where men actually sincerely, genuinely help us. There are men that you walk into a room and they see a lot of potential in you. It has nothing to do with the fact that they want to do anything with you, but they genuinely see that this girl is somebody I need in my organization. They are able to help us. So in as much as we are also having these conversations, we also need to know that it's not all the men out there that are bad. There are men out there who have helped a lot of young women to get to positions. There are a lot of men who have held ladies' hands into rooms that are very male dominated, and they've mentored them, they've guided them throughout the way. So I think that it's a balance. It's a balance of having men also understand that women are not sex objects. Women are not there for you to just play around with and then just leave them in the middle of it. But that can, yes, we are trying to change the narrative. We are trying to change the conversation. We are trying to get men to understand that women are not sex objects. But at the same time, we want women as well to improve on themselves, to put value on themselves. And then that way, in 10, 20 years, we would have less of these things, because sexual harassment in almost every report, there's very like a lot of evidence which shows that one woman or two women have been harassed. And like Maya said, speak out, irrespective of who is doing what to you. Say it. Men talk a lot, so why can't women too talk? So the more we talk about it, the more, and we all saw this Me Too campaign. I'm sure today a lot of men are, no, not all of them though, but some of them would definitely think twice before they make any advances at any woman for whatever. So the more we speak out, the more we are also able to change all these things happening around us.
Nice. Razia?
Yes. So, Faith and Maya basically took all the words that I had to actually share, but they've touched on very important points, and I would like to also reiterate what they've said. Most of the time, if you are confident as a woman and you actually know your story, whether it's business or you in the working sector, it's not easy for a man to manipulate you to anything because you know your story. So you basically speak and be professional, and it's all about the job. And most of the time, when a man actually encounters a woman that knows their story, they most probably will just stick to the points because it's all about business and you make it very clear. One of the things my mentor actually taught me, and it was a male mentor, he taught me posture and your like when you walk into a boardroom, he's like, you need to have your shoulders up and a good posture. And when you greet, you handshake. There's this handshake that you handshake and you twist the hand, whether it's a man or not. So you basically saying, hi, I'm in power. And that I've realized works. It works for me. Well, it works. Already by the time we sit down and we talk about a deal, or by the time we sit down and we talk about a project, that man, I've already put him in his position and I've taken my positional power. So it's little things like that, that when you present yourself very confidently. But how are you going to gain your confidence is by you knowing your story. Just like Faith said, that if you know that you're applying for a job that you don't qualify for and you're just going to take your chances, and this man comes through with this offer, obviously you are on a disadvantage to this person. He's more superior than you. But if you come in as in, this is who I am, I'm Razia, this is my experience, or this is my skills, and this is what I'm going to offer, and this is what you're going to gain out of it, while I also gain this out of it, that person already knows that what else do you need to offer me other than what I'm putting onto the table, what I'm qualified for and what I'm skilled for. So in order for you to actually win in this case, know your story, don't be shy, take positional power and be confident. And in that way, if that person really breaks all those boundaries, I would like to say he's more than a lion than anything else. And he really trusts himself. And most of the time, you will find that when you are confident, men even respect you better in the boardroom or in the workplace. They respect you better. And when you know your story, it's very difficult for them to put boo-boo traps for you. And if you don't, then that's where they see you as prey and they feast. So it's just simple. There's nothing more I can say other than what the ladies have said right now. But honestly, if a man takes a chance where I've positionally powered myself and I've taken control in the boardroom, I would like to say he's very confident to actually think he would win in whatever offer that he's giving that is out of what's on the table and in black and white, which is the deal.
Rams Kopse, I agree, Miss Adams. So then there's another interesting question that I want to quickly throw in out there. We've got 15 minutes before we actually close the session. The issue, there's this question, it's quite long, but I'll try to shorten it a bit. But it's around LGBTQ community. Right now, we've got the LGBTQ community that is fighting for their inclusion as well into the system. So now one of our viewers is asking to say, right now, women are fighting for their rights and inclusion. LGBTQ community is fighting for their rights. And conclusion, which one do we accommodate? Which one don't we accommodate? So I'll open it up to the floor. Whoever is comfortable answering the questions, they can
accommodate both. Why is there an issue? Why should we even talk about who do we accommodate first and who we don't? Because let's say we say, okay, accommodate women first, because we've been fighting for these positions for the longest time. We will be going back and saying after a decade, oh, now let's accommodate LGBT group. And that's not right. Already, we were actually arguing this in my industry to say, well, we've already fought for women ablution systems underground and on surface because we were mixed. Can you believe it? We were literally mixed. We would use one system, no electricity, no water, and we were asked to actually be okay about it. I'm like, no, but we use this thing differently to our men. Now, I then said, let's also put a unisex ablution system, which accommodates everyone and not necessarily women and men, because we need to move with times. When you go to Europe or America, you see these unisex restrooms. Why are we always so behind at judging who's who and why you like this and why do you need to do this? Just do things that accommodate everyone and let people be. Because we're gonna win this battle as women, and then we'll go back to the next group and the next group. So just do it together. Why not?
Yeah, but
I just want to add to that point. I want to add to that point and take it a bit further, because today we're talking about leadership and good leadership. And the fact of the matter is, the more inclusive and the more diverse the leadership table is, the decision making table is, then we will have better decisions. So I would move it out and say, be inclusive to everyone, not just LGBT groups, not just men and women. Let's talk about age for that matter. Let's talk about skin color for that matter. Let's talk about culture for that matter. Let's talk about age even, because there's a perception and a stereotype when it comes to state heads that, it needs to be people who are more experienced and people who are older. And that's why you find in Africa, the majority of our presidents and heads of state are really old, which doesn't really make sense, because Africa is a young population, and we've seen that young leaders can work. We've seen, even in the likes of New Zealand, we've seen France as well, young leaders being able to forge forward and do great policies and have great strategies as well. So I would say, let's be all inclusive, because everybody has something different to add to the table. Let's have a government, leadership organizations that are representative of an entire population, minorities and majorities as well, because that will lead to better policies, that will lead to better decisions, and that will make sure that the population, the entire population, have their needs and issues addressed as well. That's my opinion.
Okay. Faith, there's an interesting question here that I want you to answer. I think we slowly overlooked it when Maya make reference to it. So I see there's another viewer as well that is has raised it. It says powerful conversation, ladies. That is Sonti Unati on social media. Then we've got another viewer that is asking to say there's men obviously like us that as well have been put in that position to say I know you want this, do me a sexual favor of any kind as a man. So now obviously it's something that it's really commonly known within women, that men doing it to women. It's not something that is mainly commonly known within women doing it to men, so I want to particularly hear your opinion around women that are doing it to men.
I think that it looks more popular that men tend to sorry. I think it looks more popular that it's the case that women are as the men that are always making sexual advances at them as compared to men. And the fact that women feel okay, yes, they want, or people think that women want it. But like we've talked about this. When you have value in yourself, obviously you won't even be interested in looking at those kind of offers to be able to reach a particular, to be able to reach leadership. If you know what kind of value you're bringing yourself, I don't think that you would be out there really hunting for a man to help you to do that. Even, I think recently there was a research that showed that, for instance, in Ghana, we have more women who are entrepreneurs than men. Okay, we are having more female entrepreneurs. I think, like it's even evidence on this our discussion that a lot of women today are taking things onto their own hands. They're not relying on men to help them so much. It's not to say that it's bad to have the support of a man. It's great to have the support of a man. In fact, we can't even achieve anything if we don't have the support of the man. And women are going out there to do their own thing. So I don't think that we are out there really looking for men in quotes to really help us, or we are pushing ourselves out there to get that. I think women are being entrepreneurial by nature. By virtue of who we are as women, we are self-starters. We are able to do things all by ourselves. And so we should be given that room to be able to operate. For me, it's just that, but we're just amplifying that conversation, making it look as if that is the kind of women we are. No.
Yeah. So you raised a point of Ghana having more female entrepreneurs than men. What do you think you guys are doing right in your country?
For me, I think that it's just the fact that women are entrepreneurial by nature. I think that also our system allows us sometimes women take advantage of situations. If there are less jobs, a lady will not sit down and fold her arms. She wants to do something. It's been evident in our parents, our mothers. They would want to even do little things in the house, sell little things to be able to raise money. And it's getting to that part where reliance on men to be able to succeed is dying down, because now women are able to, for even here in Ghana, we are able to go beyond reliance on men to be able to do things. So I think that maybe it's our system as well that is pushing a lot of women to start their own businesses. And
but I have a question. I have a question, because we find that we have more female entrepreneurs, not just in Ghana, but a number of different African countries. But I think that the numbers can be a bit misleading, because a lot of these businesses are actually small businesses. Yeah, they're small businesses. And it's because you find that women are in the marketplace, they have their own small shops and etc and all of that kind of stuff. So all the big corporations and where the investments and where the money is actually
The
going
big
to
money.
are huge corporations that are actually owned by men. And the fact of the matter is that even though we have a lot of small businesses owned by women, women still have a lot of challenges when it comes to things like accessing markets, when it comes to things like accessing finance for their business as well. So I think that when you're looking at those numbers, you need to be careful to not equate that women are richer or are more prosperous than men. It's just that we own businesses, but we own the small businesses, and we don't have like the support that men would have
Men do.
exactly, that men have.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I agree with that.
Razia, there's a lady that says, I'm a young black woman. I want to be in leadership like you. What critical skills do I need to possess for me to take up leadership?
Okay, right now, the future critical skills is innovation. You need to be an innovative thinker. You need to be on at least some sort of digitalization, because the future is moving more and more towards technology and digital. So equip yourself with those skills. Simple skills like being able to set up a SharePoint database. I mean, it's very simple. Being able to work on Power BI, which you usually teach yourself these things on YouTube. So those are the skills right now that I think it's very critical and important for you as a woman to position yourself in and take up spaces. And don't be left out, because right now, a lot of organizations that are currently retrenching due to the pandemic, they are actually looking more and more for these skills. And if you go into leadership as well, they are looking for people who are going to drive these type of departments on the corporate world. On the business world, right now, the services that I'm being asked to actually provide in the mines is automated equipment. It's digitalization of systems integration. So it's things that are not your normal traditional conventional things that you are used to and that you've been doing for the past few years. It won't take you anywhere further. These are the skills that I am also looking for in my organization. These are the skills that business is actually looking for in bringing in, because a lot of people are not going to make it if you are still using your old conventional methods. And also be a strategic, open-minded thinker. Always look up for opportunities that are outside your comfort zone. If your comfort zone has always been I can't even make an example, but if you've been comfortable in being an action person who delivers and doing and being hands-on, start thinking hands-off, leadership, direct. Let me lead the way and let people follow me. Let me now take the skills I've acquired and transfer it to my team, and then let me lead the way in them following me. Yeah.
Nice. So, in closing, ladies, we've run out of time, unfortunately. But I want us to close in style. So what I want you to do is we'll start with you, Maya. I want you to say now you've experienced whatever that you've experienced. I'd like to think you know better, you know. So if ever now you were to look back to 10 years back and you were to advise Maya 10 years back, what would you say to her?
I would say a lot of the struggles may be external for you to get into leadership. We've discussed a lot of those systematic issues. We've discussed a lot of these stereotypes. We've discussed a lot of these lack of opportunities that we have. But I think that the biggest battle you will ever face as a woman trying to get into leadership or whatever dreams, whatever goals you want, because some people don't necessarily want to be a leader, right? There are other things that you want to do, are all internal. It all starts in here and in here. is what I would say to my younger version, and to all the young people who feel like they are disadvantaged or are overwhelmed with like the big dreams and the big visions and big ideas that they have for themselves. Is that first of all, you need to work on your mindset. You need to be confident. You need to see value in yourself and to be able to identify the true talents that you have, because the talents that you have is what makes you unique as an individual. Be yourself everywhere that you go, because you are a unique fingerprint. There is no one else out there that can match you. Don't try to be like other people, but really work on finding who your authentic self is, finding out who you are as a person. Be more aware of that and nurture those unique qualities that make you special. That is what will get you to go far. And never give up on your dream. That's what's most important. Never give up
Right.
on your dream, and be brave in everything that you do. The irony of being brave is that you have to have fear for you to be able to experience yourself as being a brave person. So fear is not something to be shunned upon, these worries and these anxieties and all of that, but it's something to look at as an opportunity for you to grow. And the moment, like Razia said, that you step out of your comfort zone, that's where growth happens. There's so much that I would say to my younger self.
So
But
then,
that would be the last message, is just work on those inner struggles and those inner battles that is stopping you from reaching your full potential.
okay. So there's a young woman that wants to follow you, that wants to see some of your work. Where can they get hold of you?
Okay, guys, you can follow me on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. I am at Maya Hayakawa. That's my handle across all the platforms. And you can also find a lot of the work that I do on our BBC platforms. That's where you can find the work that I do. But those are my personal pages, and you'll find all my stuff there.
Okay, nice. Faith, what would you say to your younger self 10 years back?
I think for me, it will be more of believing in yourself. Because I started, I mean, I've had a lot of struggles inwardly. And even now, I still go through it. And I think a lot of people go through it. The fact that a lot of times we feel that, or I feel that I sometimes even clients give me jobs, work to do. And the first question I ask myself is, can I do it? And a lot of times when I sit to do it, when I sit to research, when I sit to plan, I am able to do it. And I think that it's one of the things that I had to learn along the line, that I had to believe in myself and my capabilities. And it's one of the things that it took me a long time, and it's still taking me a long time, but I know I'll get there, where I believe in what I set out to do, and being confident in what I bring to the table and what contributions I bring to it. And I think that has also been a lot of times also because I needed to find some people who believe in me and also encourage me. And that cuts across whether it's a woman or it's a man. And that came in a little late in my career. So it's something that I needed, I know I had to do. And I think I found something today on Facebook, and it really caught my attention, which was that we should learn to ask for help. And I think it's one of the things that I also realized that we need to do. We need to encourage people to ask for help. Asking for help doesn't make you less of a human being. It doesn't make you gullible. And when people come to you to ask for help, we shouldn't make them look like they are weak. Sometimes we all need to extend a helping hand to others, and I think it's something that I had to learn to ask for help instead of shelving a lot of things, trying to do a lot of things myself. And when I started, it was a lot of things. Even for my summit, at the very beginning, I sort of took a lot of work task to do. But I realized that for you to be a good leader, you need to delegate, you need to collaborate with other people, you need to bring a lot of people on board to be able to achieve a bigger goal. And so those were the things that I felt that I should be telling my younger self, and especially to all other young people, is the fact that be confident in whatever you set out to do. And in the middle of it, if you are stranded, if you are lost, find friends who you can talk to, find mentors who you can talk to, find industry people that you can walk to. And I know we live in a system where we have this closed door policies where sometimes when you're going through a particular challenge, it's not easy to walk to this CEO's office and say, I want to have an appointment with this CEO. It's very difficult. So we need to also ease up those kind of spaces where people can walk to us. And thanks to social media today, when you want to engage somebody, you can just send a message to the person, private message or whatever, and you'll be able to seek for that help. And so I think I'll tell myself and many other young people out there to do that.
I'll wait for you to engage me, girl. I'll wait for you to engage me. So where do people follow you?
Faith Senam on Facebook, Faith Senam on Twitter, Senam April on Instagram. And so you can find my work on eApril PR, which is my company, and then Women in PR Ghana, which is my organization as well.
Nice. Razia, to yourself, 10 years back?
Yeah, 10 years back. Well, what I would say to myself 10 years back is that what I'm doing now, where I am basically transferring my skills and knowledge to a lot of young people who actually want to come in the industry, I could have done it long ago. I concentrated a lot into pushing myself and pushing those glass doors and making sure I'm in, which is something that I could have done, pulling others as well. And never look at your background, because as Africans, we come from a background, not a lot of us come from privileged backgrounds. Never look at your background and then decide on your future on that. I literally come from a background where there was no role model in my community. There was no one that actually had gone to university, and I would always look at my surrounding and saying, well, if it means I'm going to be the first one going to university, I will, because I want to make sure that children in my community actually believe that they can be whatever they want to become. And don't look at, there's so many opportunities available out there for young people to actually go and study. I'm now speaking to the younger people, because it's not just people in our generation that is tuning in right now. If you look at your background and you're asking yourself, would I ever make it out of this condition or situation? Yes, you can. Just focus on what you need to do. And like Faith said, get a mentor, get a coach, even if you are still at school. That's very important, to get a mentor and a coach. Approach people. People are always available to assist. I run a company that is a business mentorship and career advancement group, where we've got a number of mentors who are willing to actually mentor you towards reaching your goal and being someone and being what you would like to become in your life. I know for sure that I will be running one of those digital automated minds that is majority youth and majority women, with men, of course, but please do take note, majority. The reason why I want to do this is because you give a woman an opportunity, you feed the whole community. And young people are struggling right now, and they are even losing hope in believing in themselves. They're sitting with degrees, they're sitting with qualifications, they want exposure. So we have the opportunity to actually do that. So that's the dream I'm actually pushing and living to achieve before I actually retire from whatever that I want to do in life going forward.
So where do we follow you?
Okay, so on social media, on Instagram, I'm Razia_Adam. Facebook, Razia Adam. On Twitter, I'm Business Mentor 04. And I'm also on LinkedIn, Razia Adam, and Luandle RNS Mining, as well as Business Mentorship in all social media platforms.
Thank you very much. To all of you that are watching, thank you definitely for joining us tonight. And to all the participants, Liz, Kuba, Keke, and a whole lot of others that are busy, putting up posts, commenting, and asking questions on our social media. Definitely thank you for interacting with us. If ever you're only watching this now on our YouTube, definitely do subscribe to our channel so that you're able to see a whole lot of other content that we've got. We've got content on GBV, we've got content on women in leadership. We've got a whole lot of strength and topics that we get to cover as Thando Channel, and definitely follow our social media platforms is Thando Channel. And if you want to follow me on social media, it's at Debohoma40, everything Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. It's definitely been an amazing evening that we had with you, and it definitely wouldn't have been possible all this without you, ladies. So take it from me as a man, I take my head off for you, and I respect you and admire you just being a woman. Um, Self. And I think right now I've got no doubt whatsoever. I've even seen with some of the comments that you've definitely been inspirational to some of our viewers out there. So, and let it please not end with us as Thando Channel. Please do support other platforms out there and inspire, a girl child, inspire a boy child. I've always said women are always having platforms like these for them to voice themselves out and actually be in a position of speaking to other women or how to improve other women. But however, there's no one that speaks to men. And this man needs to come tomorrow and marry this woman or needs to do whatever. And that's why we come damaged and we end up abusing you guys. And on behalf of men out there that are self-respecting like myself, we'd like to say we appreciate you, and we'd like to say thank you for being the amazing woman that you are. There's a lot
Thank
of us that are seeing the work that you guys are doing out there. Continue being amazing and continue impacting a black child and the child of this continent. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
So,
Okay,
and
it's been
you,
great, ladies.
yes, no, it definitely is. And to everyone else,
Are
that
we
is at home.
offline?
No, we're still online. So to everyone else that is at home, let me just say bye to them. So thank you for joining us, and we're definitely looking forward to having you on our next discussion and our next chat with our amazing next panel of speakers that we get to have. If ever you also have your own suggestions on what you want us to talk about as Thando Channel, please definitely put up those suggestions on our tuning WhatsApp on our Facebook channel being Thando Channel, and we'll definitely take it up. If ever you've got a person that you have in mind as well, you want us to bring them back, please do let us know. If you even want us to bring our ladies back, please definitely let us know, and we definitely shall be in touch. My name is Debohoma Fodi, accompanied by Faith, Maya, and Reza. We're leaving you tonight. Good night, and thank you once more for tuning in. Ladies, it's definitely been amazing. Thank you once more. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you. It was great meeting you and great conversation.